Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to another episode 68, if I'm not mistaken, of the Everything Medicare Podcast. I hope you had a fantastic weekend, and I hope this podcast finds you doing well. If this is your first time listening, my name is Christian Brindle. I'm a Medicare health plan expert and specialist in just outside of Salt Lake City, Utah, and I own a company called Christian Brindle Insurance Services. I published 2 books on Medicare plans, and obviously I host this podcast where every single week we talk about your Medicare, your Medicaid, your Social Security, and everything that has to do with that golden age called retirement. We bring you podcasts on Monday and Saturday every single week, and we try to make a subject that nobody wants to talk about interesting and relatively fun to talk about, if that's even possible. I don't know. So just a reminder, if you didn't hear our podcast on Saturday, just a few days ago, so you guys drive the bus with this podcast. You guys who listen, the audience, determine what kind of content that we put out week after week. And one thing that we have gotten tremendously positive feedback on is interviews. You seem to like hearing interviews from people that are established people in the insurance industry and hearing a different perspective than my own. And I get it. You hear my perspective week after week after week on the same things, and that's probably going to get a little old, and you're going to get tired of me. Trust me, my wife gets tired of me from time to time. Everybody gets tired of me from time to time. I'm easy to get tired of. But we're doing an interview tomorrow, and it will air on Saturday. So it will be uploaded and put up for your consumption and your ability to listen on Saturday. But tomorrow, I'm going to be interviewing Justin Brock. And for those of you who don't know, Justin Brock is probably one of the most established Medicare experts in the United States. He owns one of the largest insurance agencies, and he's worked with thousands of people. He helps tons of agents help and take care of people the right way, and he's just got a tremendous resume and track record. And tomorrow, I've never met Justin, never met him. Talked with him briefly through email and instant messages and stuff like that. Mainly about doing this. But he's somebody that I've learned from in a certain extent on some things that I haven't been strong on. And I think he's someone that's incredibly smart, incredibly insightful, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation. That will be happening tomorrow, but like I said, it won't be uploaded till Saturday. So please, 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 please make sure that you do not miss that episode. That will be uploading on the 29th, which would be June 29th, of course, this coming Saturday. So just wanted to remind you of that. This is not your usual interview. This is going to be a very special interview. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you are as well. So now let's talk about this. One thing that is so confusing for people is what cards should they be carrying around in their wallets. Okay? Now I'm going to tell you a quick story. In my life, I have been notorious for being what's known as a card collector, a wallet card collector. I am the guy that a card goes into my wallet and it's like a black hole and I never see it again, whether it be an insurance card, whether it be a discount card, whether it be a debit or credit card. Whatever the case is, if it goes into my wallet, it's probably not going to be seen again, especially with cards that end up getting replaced, like insurance cards get replaced, typically from year to year for medical insurance. Every so often, your credit cards are going to send you new copies, especially when they expire, or your debit cards or anything like that. My cards typically, I've gotten better at this, but my cards typically stay in my wallet and I have 3 or 4 of the same card. Like I said, I've gotten better, but I am your typical card collector, wallet card collector. Now, why is this a problem? There's two reasons. Number one, the more cards you have on your person, the easier it is to lose one of them, and then obviously someone has some information you don't want them to have, even if it's an expired card. Nowadays, that stuff is dangerous. You don't want anyone, the wrong person, I should say, getting their hands on those kind of things. So that's number one. The more cards you put out there, the more risk you have. Let me use an insurance lingo terminology. In the insurance world, they classify things as risks or non-risks. Risks meaning things that could potentially go wrong that they may have to pay for, meaning the insurance company. The insurance, a potential risk. A risk is amplified the more often it is done. So let's say, let me give you an example. Let's say I drive to work every day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. In fact, I probably do 6 days a week. But Monday through Friday, let's say I'm a regular person and I drive to work every day. There's a risk that I might get in a car accident just because I'm getting in the car, just because there's unforeseen factors. My car could go out on me. I don't control everyone else on the road. There's always a risk, and that's a risk. No matter how good of a driver I am, no matter how good of shape my car is in, no matter how few people are on the road, there's always a risk. And that is a risk. So if my ability to drive to work is classified as a risk by my car insurance, and that's how they decipher these risks and they analyze everything and they calculate my premiums. So, opposed to, let's say I work from home. I don't. I work at our office. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, I worked from home and I never drove to work. Well, obviously, I have less risk of getting in a car accident going to work than somebody that goes to work 5 days a week, just for the sake of example. So the more cards you put out there, no matter how careful you are, it's just increasing your risk. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, especially in the insurance world, it's much easier to show the wrong card when you need to show it. And let's say you're crunched for time or whatever the case may be, or maybe you just can't find the other one and you just run into a big problem. Makes your life more difficult. People don't know today what kind of cards they need to have and what they need to show depending on what type of plan they have. It really just depends on your situation, but I'm going to tell you exactly which type of card you need to have and which ones you need to get out of your wallet. Okay, we're going to declutter. If you're anything like me, I want you to open up your wallet when you're done, go through it, get rid of what you don't need that we're going to talk about today, because I guarantee you it's going to make your life easier. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about Medicare cards. So since 1966, when Medicare came into the equation, they have been using people's Social Security numbers for their people's Medicare numbers. I believe colleges and universities did that up until 2000, but they figured it out that wasn't a good idea quicker than Medicare did, of course. But there's a lot of old lingering cards with people's Social Security cards numbers on them. Now, last year they made the announcement that they were going to do away with those cards. They were going to come out with new cards, and these new cards were going to have jumblized, randomized codes of numbers and letters on them, right? More similar to like a regular type of insurance policy, which is a much better idea. It's a lot more secure than someone's Social Security card. So you should have received that by now. Every single person on Medicare should have received this new card by now. If you've been on Medicare for some time, they should have sent you one in the mail. If you have that new card and you're carrying around that new card, but you still have your old Social Security card in there, cut up the Social Security card. Get rid of it. It serves no purpose. It cannot even be used anymore. You need the new Medicare card, and that's the only one you need if you're carrying around a Medicare card. Okay? And then I see a lot of people that have, let's say they got on Medicare Part A, it's at 65, and they postponed Part B, and they got Part B later, and so they have a card that just has Part A on it, and then they have another card that has Part A and B on it. Get rid of the one that just says Part A on it. Just cut it up. You don't need all these Medicare cards. Now, if you're listening to this and you don't know if you've received the new Medicare card without the social on it, If you haven't got it yet, call Social Security and order one because you're going to need it. Your Social Security Medicare card will stop working any day now, if it hasn't already. So keep that in mind. Now, why would you need to carry around your Medicare card? And why would you not? Because that's another big thing. Stay with me into segment 2 after a quick word from our sponsor, and I will answer that question. What is up, folks? Thank you for sticking with me, and this is segment 2 of this week's Everything Medicare Podcast, and today we're talking about cards. What cards do you need to be carrying? What cards do you not need to be carrying? We talked about the Medicare cards. Okay, so if you're carrying around your Medicare card, make sure that you're carrying around the new Medicare card without the social on it, and make sure you're carrying around your A and B card. Okay, if you're listening to this and you just have Part A and not Part B, and you haven't taken Part B yet because you're working, just carry around the A card. But for everybody else, if you have an A card and you have a card that's an A and B card, get rid of the A card, carry around the one that has both on it. Okay, so it's quite simple, to be honest with you folks. It's quite simple. If you have a Medigap or Medicare supplement plan, you need to carry that card, as well as your Part D card for drugs, and your Medicare card, red, white, and blue card. Of course, we went over which Medicare card, but that's in the scenario where you need to carry around your Medicare card, okay? You need those 3 cards with you, because your Medicare card, your A and B, pay 80% of your medical bills. The supplement pays 20% of your medical bills through whichever private insurance company you have it through if you have one of those types of plans. And then your Part D plan covers your prescriptions through whichever insurance company you decided to get that through. So those are the 3 cards that you need to be carrying in this type of scenario. Now, if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, and this is the thing I see people do that they just shouldn't. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan, whoever it's through, and you have a card through them, but you're also carrying your Medicare card, don't carry it. It's no different than carrying your Social Security card around. It doesn't serve any purpose. When you have a Medicare Advantage plan, keep this in mind, that your Medicare is being ran through a private insurance company. It takes the place of your Medicare. So, because of this, your Medicare won't even pay on a claim anymore, because this private insurance company that you picked is being funded every month from Medicare to take care of you. Doctors call them replacement plans. I'm not supposed to use that terminology, but I think it's a good analogy. It replaces your Medicare in a sense. And so Medicare doesn't even pay in claims anymore, so you carrying around literally does you no good. I would put it in a safe, somewhere where you know where it is, but you don't need to carry it around with you. You just need your Medicare Advantage plan card in that scenario. But I see a lot of people carry both anyway. And that's incredibly dangerous because, like I said in segment 1, let's go back to this risk thing. In the insurance world, everything is divvied out in the terms of risk. So the more risk you have out there, the more likely something bad's going to happen. I'll give you an example. I'm not a very good skier, as if you might know. Now most people wouldn't guess that because I'm born and raised in Utah. I'm not a good skier and I'm not a good snowboarder. I don't like either one. So let's say I decide to go skiing. If I go skiing once, I'll probably get hurt. But there's a chance I might not because I don't know what I'm doing. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, I'm such a bad skier that there's a good chance I'll get hurt. Let's say a 50-50 chance. Is there a greater chance of me getting hurt just skiing once? Or is there a greater chance of me getting hurt if I ski 10 times over a 10-day span? Probably a greater chance because I'm putting more times out there that I could possibly get hurt. Now, I might get better, and that's a variable, an unforeseen variable. But the more often you do something dangerous, the more likely something bad is going to happen. And they call that risk. So if you're carrying around your Medicare card and you don't need to, like if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, there's nothing good that can come from that. It doesn't serve any purpose. If a doctor's office tried to bill Medicare when you're on a Medicare Advantage plan, the claim would get denied because Medicare would take one look at it. They'd say, John Smith or whoever it is, they're on a Medicare Advantage plan. We're funding them to take care of them. We're not paying. The claim needs to run through the Advantage plan. So it's very simple, folks. It's very, very simple. Don't be like me. Do not be like me. Do not be a card collector. Make sure you clean your wallet out. Make sure you only have the necessary cards, because today you can never be too careful. We've all lost our wallet once or twice in our lifetime. It's scary, especially when you have personal information in there. And in today's world, you never know what can happen. Stay with me into segment 3 after a quick word from our sponsor. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with me, folks, all the way to our third and final segment. This isn't that complicated of a topic. This is pretty simple. So I really, really encourage you, and I'm not saying it's, that you should, I'm not saying that because I think, well, you should know better. I'm just saying that's why the episode is a little shorter than normal, because there's just not a whole lot for me to talk about on this. It's very simple. I think it's pretty straightforward. So when you're done listening to this, I encourage you, if you're like me, if you're a card collector, at least for your Medicare stuff, go through your wallet, make sure you don't have unnecessary copies or duplicates or whatever the case may be. I also see people that are on Medicare Advantage plans that have 6 different cards because they get a new one every year. Just make sure you have the right one, or if you're not sure, order a new one from your insurance company and cut the rest of them up if you're not sure. Or shred them. And then that way you have the right one, and then every time you get a new one going forward, get rid of the old one. I mean, that's a good system. Don't wait. Don't put in your card. In your wallet. Don't say I'll do it later, because then if you're like me, it doesn't get done. That's my biggest message from this episode. I encourage you to make sure that you are keeping everything up to date, because if something changes on your plan and you get a new card and you're at the doctor's office, the claim might have bumps. It's not saying that it can't be fixed, but it's just unnecessary stress and anxiety that you don't need. Thank you so much for listening, folks. As always, if you are on Medicare and you would like to work with me, or at least talk with me, and you happen to live in Utah, Idaho, and Florida, those are the 3 states that my organization is licensed to work with people in, we're always adding more states, give us a call at 801-255-5340, 801-255-5340, and ask for me, Christian, and I am always happy to talk with you. It's a no obligation, free consultation. Obviously, my services don't cost anything, even if you did want to do a plan through me. It's the same exact price as if you went directly through the insurance company. There's no twists or anything like that. The only thing is you just get my company's service on top of the insurance company service, and sometimes people prefer that as a third party. I encourage you, give us a call. If you're on Medicare and you're just not sure if you like what you have, or if you are getting in onto Medicare and you're just not sure what options you have or what's the best option for you, we can help narrow those down. We work with multiple insurance companies. We can help, I promise. Thanks so much for listening, folks. I will talk with you soon when we upload our next upcoming interview on Saturday. Stay tuned. Have a wonderful week. Take care.